Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I think, because of the war in Ukraine, because of what's going on with NATO and the European Commission, the Baltic states are even more interesting to us today than they were in the past. And so I thought it'd be interesting to reach out to Ilze Lacgalve, who is the head of the Latvian Investment and Development Agency's representative office in Canada. She has been with that agency in Canada since March of 2022, so a year and a half. And it's the first time Latvia has had a dedicated trade and economic representative here in Canada. Ilze has got really quite an interesting background. Her parents decided to move to Latvia from the far east of Russia, where her father was a fur trapper and her mother worked at the meteorological station. She moved to Riga, Latvia at the age of 7, and she's spent time there since. Latvia regained its independence in 1991, opened many opportunities for young workers to quickly advance. And she started her career first with a private newspaper, then the chief editor, then the deputy editor assistant. 4 years later, she was recruited to work for a Latvian shipping company, and at the same time was the largest company in Latvia. She became the director of marketing, public relations, and there she met her husband, who was a Latvian-born man in Canada, and they both decided to move to Canada. She's got a Bachelor of Commerce degree from Toronto Metropolitan University, and she started to work at an IT distribution company, Tech Data Canada, and now she is the representative of Latvia in Toronto. What a background. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Brian, for having me on the show. It's such an honor to tell the story about Latvia and how great the country is to your listeners. A little adjustment is my parents actually are Latvian, and they moved to the Far East because they were super adventurous and decided to live and work very far from Latvia. And that's where I was born, and my brother Nick as well. And because I had to go back to school, I actually started school, and my parents wanted me to continue in Latvian school. We moved to Riga. It was quite a challenge for a young Latvian girl, and my grandma basically had me dropped off, and off they went for another year. And I had a great experience with learning culture and music from my grandmother, who was very had a great influence on my future. I think all these amazing experiences that I had from early childhood made me who I am today. Adventurous, eager to learn, agile, not afraid to do things and take new opportunities.
Excellent.
And yeah.
So take a step back for a second, if you could, and tell us all where Latvia is. Where are the Baltic states? Where is Latvia?
So Latvia is located on the Baltic Sea, and it is between three Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. So Latvia is in the middle, and Latvia is about 400 kilometers across the sea from Sweden. And it's a beautiful, beautiful country based on in Europe. And what is really lovely, we have a beautiful city, Riga, which is a capital, founded in 1201. And it's a really, I guess, for a lot of Canadians, so far away. And
it sure is.
So Latvians are very much like Canadians, very passionate for hockey. I would not try to compare who is more passionate, but Latvians are the greatest fans. And first time Latvia won a World Hockey Championship. Didn't win, Canada won. Latvia got the bronze. And the goalie actually was Artur Silaus, who is Vancouver Canucks goalie. And he was awarded to be the best player and the best goalie for the championship. So what
Excellent.
A connection with Canada.
And there's quite a Canadian force in Latvia, I understand, as part of NATO.
We do. And it's an amazing support that Latvia appreciates greatly is the Canadian NATO forces. Is 1,500 currently or more representatives in Latvia, but Prime Minister Trudeau announced further support to Latvia with increasing force for support as part of NATO.
And you have quite a long border with Russia, do you not?
We do. We do have a border with Russia, but we're also part of NATO and European Union. And we feel very strong about the support that we're receiving. And Latvia also has contributed, increased its own budget for military requirements. And so we are feeling very strong being part of the alliance.
I spoke with someone from Estonia earlier in the week, and they were saying that there were quite a lot of Russian-speaking people and Russians that had either moved to Estonia before the war in Ukraine and/or were refugees during the war in Ukraine. Are there many Russians or Russian-speaking people in Latvia?
We do. We do have historically also a population of Russians in Latvia, and we feel that most of the people are understanding the current situation and happy to be in Latvia.
And so it's not an issue.
I mean, it's a language can be an issue, and we are working towards, as a country, hoping that more people are learning Latvian language, which then will help them to advance and find better jobs and do better in Latvia and integrate in the community.
And what's the population of Latvia?
The population of Latvia is shy of 2 million. We're a little bit bigger than Estonia.
Just a bit. So Estonia is about 1.3 million.
Exactly. We are just shy of 2 million.
Okay. And Lithuania?
Lithuania is touch bigger than Latvia. So it's over 2 million, 2.4, I believe.
So about 5 million in total in the Baltic states.
About 5 million total, and we are in the middle.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you joining us and telling us a little Latvia. We're going to take a break for some messages. And when we come back, we're going to understand exactly what the industry opportunity, what the business opportunity is in Latvia, and what your job is to try to attract us all. Stay with us, everyone. We're going to be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. My guest tonight is Ilze Lacgalve, who is the head of the Latvian Investment and Development Agency's representative office here in Canada. Latvia is a Baltic state, and I think it's a country that we've paid a lot more attention to recently because of the Canadian forces as part of NATO that are there, and also obviously because we're all focused a little bit more on the Baltic states, Eastern Europe, Russia, Ukraine, etc. And so I think it's really interesting that Latvia has actually hired you to be their representative in Canada. Tell me, what is it you do? What do? You give us money if we come, or you persuade us to come, or you make red tape easier if we come? What is it you do in Canada?
I have two main parts of my responsibilities. One is to help Latvian companies to find export opportunities and partners in Canada, and that would apply to goods and services. We are part of Canadian European Union Economic and Free Trade Agreement, and Latvia was one of the first countries to ratify this agreement, which opens a lot of opportunities to increase the trade between the two countries and eliminates many tariffs and trade barriers. So this is a great opportunity, especially in the current geopolitical situation, for Canadian companies and also Latvian companies to choose the trusting and reliable partners. So I believe that's one of the great opportunities for us to advance more, because we already are partners in many different ways, and economic growth would be great advancement for both countries. Another aspect of my business, I call it business, it feels like business, is to help attract Canadian investment opportunities to Latvia. And I believe with the location where we are and positioning, it would be a great opportunity for companies who are looking to expand into European Union and have an access to a market of 450 million people, which is in the EU, and also to the friendly countries in the East. And
what's your pitch? If you were expanding to Europe, wouldn't it make more sense to go to the UK? I guess the UK is no longer in the European community, so that's a problem. Or France, that's closer, or something like that. Like, why? What's your pitch? Why Latvia at just shy of 2 million is the better market to enter first?
Well, I believe there are a couple of different things. So first of all, we are very well positioned geographically. We do have a couple interesting aspects in Latvia that we offer to companies who come. One is we have 5 special economic zones. There are 3 in major ports and 2 are in eastern part of Latvia. And in those major economic zones, there are 2 major advantages for companies. One is that there's an 80% rebate on corporate income tax and property tax. So your company's income tax could be as low as 4% if they're operating in a special economic zone. And also we have another great advantage for Canadian companies who would be considering to come to Latvia is no tax on reinvested profit. And what it really means is if a company decides not to distribute dividends, they can instead invest in growth and innovation, then those investments will not be taxed. So that is something that probably you would not have in the United Kingdom, for example, as your example was posted. Plus, we also are part of EU, which is a great advantage. So it opens a lot of opportunities for companies who come to Latvia. We do have biggest airport in the Baltics with about 150 connecting flights daily. And one interesting fact for Canadians, I think, is also that our national airline, Air Baltic, is flying all Canada-made in Quebec planes, Airbus A220, which they purchased total of 50 planes, with most of them already being delivered. And that is something that definitely adds a great benefit to getting easy in and out of Latvia, connecting to any different destinations. We also have still very affordable real estate, which means that companies who would need a production facility or office can really find still available space and also land to build production facilities and factories. We also have I would say a great quality of life because Riga is a very vibrant city. We have lots of great cities, theatres, and beautiful castles, beautiful things to do. And Latvia is one of the greenest countries in Europe, with about 50% of the area is covered by woods. So you can enjoy the buzzing life in the city and you can have great time in the forest, which is very close by, and the seaside as well.
You're very far north. Latvia, from a latitude standpoint, is north of Edinburgh, and it's north of that latitude that separates out the provinces in Canada from the Northwest Territories. You're sort of equivalent to Hudson's Bay and Yellowknife. Are you too cold?
No, the having the sea making the climate fairly mild. I would say our winters are not as cold or very similar to Canada, maybe a little bit less sunlight in the winter, but extremely long sun days in summer. So the longest day, which is around June 23rd, would be, I would say, 21 hour probably.
Really?
So the darkness is only 3 hours because it's just so far
So
north.
summer's great. Winter's a little bit dark, but summer's great.
It is, but there's lots to do in Riga and Latvia, and easy to get to a warmer climate if you need for a weekend. So Air Baltic, it makes it easily available and possible.
Now, all 3 Baltic states are part of both NATO and the European Union. Is that correct?
Correct. Latvia joined both 15 years ago.
And is there much trade between the 3 Baltic states? And what about in Poland?
We do have a lot of trade between Baltic states. I think one of the great parts is that because the whole region is really strong and quickly developing and advancing, it also helps each Baltic state to become more successful. We are happy to see our neighbors, Estonia and Lithuania, doing great. It also makes us do great. So Latvian companies invest in Estonia, Lithuania, Estonian and Lithuanian companies invest in Latvia, and the trade for companies who do production of food or wood products or IT, any sectors, pharmaceuticals. Actually, is a lot of trade between friendly nations. Poland is also a very friendly NATO and EU nation to Latvia, and we have been very strongly standing against war in Ukraine together with the Baltic states. I actually personally have been very lucky to have a great support from Polish community in Canada. And we together organized this past summer an event, the Polish consulate in Toronto, jointly with Polish Business Association, Canadian Business Association, and kind welcome, a Polish investment agency as well. And we did have a great reception, great networking event for companies who participated at the Collision, which is a startup event in Toronto, attracting major crowds and investors, innovators, and it was very, very successful. I think Polish. I have Polish roots as well, so I do have a bit of a mix, Polish and Lithuanian.
Are there any major Canadian companies in Latvia, or any global companies in Latvia that people would know of?
Definitely. There is a great interest in Latvia from companies abroad, and there are companies from Canada that most Canadians probably would know. One is Couche-Tard, who has across the world 1,400 retail store locations. And Canadians probably would know under names such as Circle K, Max stores. And in Latvia, the company has a major business center. It's called Riga Business Center, and it has over 800 employees, and it's constantly growing. Company investing a lot in education and training, and they've been having a great success with Latvian people, providing an excellent support also to Canadian locations. We also have CGI, which is IT businesses consulting company, has office in Riga. And one of the large North American Irish companies, Accenture Professional Services, has a very large office in Riga, which is 2,000 employees, and they keep steadily growing. And the services are provided to various customers across the world. One of their interesting cases also is IT Services Company, which is publicly traded US company, Cognizant, which has 300 employees in Latvia. And what is really great about Latvia is especially the amount of engineers that Latvia educates through various education options, whether it be universities or specialized schools, which offers a great IT, highly specialized metal and precision engineers, bioengineers across Latvia. So yes, there's a great potential in terms of what Latvia can provide.
What are the biggest exports from Latvia to Canada?
The biggest exports, I would say, we have there are chemical exports. There's a wood products, which is kind of interesting that Canada is such a large country, but there are wood exports. There's companies called, for example, Mikrotik, which is exporting routers, and a lot of Canadian homes and a lot of offices have these Latvian-made products, but they may not know about it. So we also have companies from Latvia who offer interesting services. IT services is one of the major areas. And for example, if we look at the statistics, the major growth for Latvia in terms of exports to Canada has been services. Year over year, we had 71% growth for the first half of the year just on services. It's professional services. Yep. These are higher added value services.
So what should we do? What if someone's interested in exploring the opportunity to invest in Latvia or to do business in Latvia? They just give you a call or come to your office or send you an email or go to your website, or what do they do?
I definitely hope that people can find me first on LinkedIn. So that's the easiest way. As you know, my name is not very easy to pronounce. I will try to spell it. And that I think is going to be a challenge because a lot of your listeners are driving today. So my name, is Ilze Lacgalve. I'm very active on LinkedIn. And you can reach me if I spell this correctly. It's Ilze is my first name. And the last name is Lacgalve. That would be probably the easiest. The other thing is going to Brian Crombie show, a YouTube channel, and finding probably my information hopefully there. It would be fantastic if we could somehow have it available, at least my email. The other option is you can go onto Latvian Investment and Development Agency website, and all the representatives and their contact information is listed there.
Excellent. Maybe tell me a little bit about Latvian education and what sectors Latvia is strong in.
Well, Latvia does pay great attention to providing required education for people so that we can advance faster our economy and highest added value sectors. Latvia is really great at helping to educate a lot of engineers that I already mentioned. We are very well known, actually, our medical schools are very popular for European students and not just. I actually had a very interesting story. I was in a trade show in Toronto and I met a lady from Austria and she said, "Oh yeah, I know where Latvia is." And I said, "Okay, that's fantastic." And she said, "My friend studies medicine in Latvia." So that's actually was a great compliment because our medical education is great in Latvia. And it's also is one of the medical and bioscience, pharmaceutical is one of the sectors that Latvia is very strong in. And some of the major companies also considering and opening research and innovation and development options in Latvia. Latvian universities are also partnering in creating this educated and innovative talent by partnering, for example, with MIT. Riga Technical University is one of the schools who does it. We also have a fantastic school, Stockholm School of Economics in Riga, who is partnering with another US university, Wharton. And I would say Latvians are, because we are not such a big country, but we are a very, very talented country and very quick to learn. We have 90% of population of Latvia speak at least one foreign language. And also about 50% or more speak two foreign languages. I think statistically it's very, very interesting because it is a very big driver. And that's why companies like Circle K, Couche-Tard can really attract and provide services, advanced services. We are not talking call services, but advanced services to their customers. So some of the sectors that I also find they're very strong in Latvia is definitely IT. IT is one of the strong sectors based on also what I see from companies investing and moving and opening their businesses in Latvia. What is really also interesting, we also have a very strong wood manufacturing, and not just shipping plain wood, but manufacturing the wood sectors. And we have a very large company in Latvia, Latvijas Finieres, which is a worldwide exporter of wood products, but manufactured. And robotics. So you probably don't know, but we are big with drones. So Latvians have developed a lot of drones and robotics, bioengineering, biomedicine. We are seeing a major interest from also investors in our startups, and Latvia have attracted in the past years the record investments from venture capital funds such as Founders Fund, ASL, Index Ventures, and many more. So definitely something that, like you said, we deserve more attention, and I believe at this point we're getting much more attention.
Well, we thank you for joining us and telling us a little bit about Latvia and more importantly about the job you've got in being a catalyst for more trade between Canada and Latvia and business investment in Latvia and Latvian companies coming to Canada. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
We're going to take a break and come back with another story in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody.